CB.
Well, I really don't know what to do with him. I mean, I just want to keep him on the pay me no mind list because I defeated him. I mean, I let him run his mouth. I let him make his threats. I used his own mouth to tell everybody that what he said about me is a lie. So, I really is not worth my time anymore. But I want all the information you got, and so do the viewers out there. So, talk away, brother.
Oh yeah, you know he's 56 years old, right?
Well, they believe I'm 63, man. They're too busy reading the internet. Okay, he's 63, okay.
Yeah, this guy, he's almost 60 years old, and he's still acting like a snitch, yo. You know that I live right down the block from him, and he used to snitch me out all the time, yo.
Well, if I lived up the block from him, I probably would have busted both his jaws by now.
He's gonna be 60 years old soon. He's gonna be an old man.
Yeah?
I'm telling you, this guy really is a waste of time. First of all, he's a snitch because he snitched me out. He snitched many of my friends out at any given time. We were talking on the radios or we were doing all kinds of things. This guy he's a fucking lifetime snitch. He has it in his heart to snitch people. That's what it is. And you know what? Snitches work both ways because that's how I got a lot of this information about the other people that he snitched out, like Orlando Velasquez. You know, Bad Boy.
Okay.
Bad Boy. His name is Orlando Velasquez. He lives down there on Water Street. He thinks he's friends with this Christopher guy, but meanwhile, you know what it is? It's like snitches work both ways, just like the guy at 189 Avenue D. He basically gave away his whole crew. He gave away his whole crew, the addresses and whatnot. He's just a fucking snitch.
Well, to me, what they are, like I told them, particularly just about everybody you mentioned when they decided to bring their little war to me, I politely told them one by one when they crossed that too. See, I get this impression that you use snitches the way I use snitches, but for me, sometimes it's an occupational hazard and a blessing. But the bottom line is, I told them straight up. I said, look, one by one, the minute they crossed that line and gave me my probable cause to unleash my beast, I let them know that a dollar against an hour with your crack whore mother, it will never ever go down like that. And I had a real good time showing this to them. So, if you've been listening out here for a while, then I let them run all their avenues, run all their courses, say everything they can make up and try to enforce as truth, and then I decided to play their game.
Oh yeah, you know what? Technology is a bitch, ain't it? Because you got technology, and you can make a whole bunch of things happen. It's like I got all the information on this guy. I mean, I got social security numbers, I got driver's license ID numbers, I have his home files IP address. Every time he rotates it, I capture it. So this guy he's like a fucking joke, man. He's like a fucking joke. All he does in his whole lifetime is snitch on people, and now he's talking shit on the CB radio, which I don't particularly give a fuck about. But you know what? As an old time favor, I'm repaying him the same way that he repaid me by snitching me out to Orlando Velasquez, a.k.a. Bad Boy.
Bad girl,
Well,
bad girl.
what? Yeah, bad boy. He calls himself, right? That's Orlando Velasquez. You know what? The snitching works two ways. It's a two-way street. If you got the fucking mouth and you better work your mouth, then you better be prepared for the fucking repercussions. And I've known this for a long time, for many years, He goes back snitching me. He used to snitch me to ham operators. He used to snitch me to the FCC. This motherfucker used to snitch me to the FCC. He is a full-time snitch, and you know what? Everybody that I mentioned would know this because he went to them telling them about me. So you know what? Like I said, a real snitch works two ways. Works the street two ways. Works both sides.
Well,
He snitched on me. He snitched on me, and he snitched to me.
Well,
That's why I really don't give a fuck about sharing his information. Sharing their information. I got his phone numbers. You want to call up? You can call up in his house line. I can give you his phone number if you want.
listen. Like I said, we'll take all phone numbers. Look, it's like this. You're right about equipment and technology. See, but unfortunately, I'm suspended without pay, and I'm not up on this technology or this equipment that I should have sitting on these tables that I do not. So yeah, I'll take all phone numbers. I'll take all driver's license numbers. I'll take all look. I'll take whatever I can get, because I could assure you, if I was employed right now and not suspended and not cut out of every loop, I would not need to retrieve this information like this.
Yep. Well, you know what? Anytime you can call me. I'll give it to you. And anybody in particular, I can give you what I have on them. And snitching works two ways. Like I said.
Well,
you have to be one. You have to be one to know one.
Well, check it out. Here is the beauty about this. Okay. Fortunately, I'm glad I can't call you because your telephone number comes up unknown on the display. That's number one. Number two, at your request, I did record this. So I'm sure these viewers and these listeners and these other player haters out here would love to hear the telephone numbers, would love to hear the driver's license numbers, would love to hear the social security numbers. They would love to hear what you got. I'd like to hear it.
I can send you the file. You can call up this house line anytime. I can send you the file. So just give me on Christopher Gasser. I can send you the file. I can send you on Orlando Velasquez. So give me your email address where I can send this file to.
All right, no problem. I'm gonna pause the recording to give you this email address because this particular email address is private. So
yeah.
Let me pause this recording here. I'm the king, guys. Okay, now that I've given you the information, the recording is now started. Yes, sir. And, feel free to give my viewers whatever information or intel you would like. This is what they rely on me for.
Yeah, so I will definitely send that to you. And, he's like a target of a target when you're down. Like if you're on probation, like me for instance, when I was on probation, and he knew that I was on probation, that's when he started all of his shit. So he likes to take you when you're down. When you're down, I noticed that about him. He likes to fucking take you when you're down, because when you're up, when you're no longer on federal probation or none of that, when you're clean, when you got a clean record, then it's a whole other ballpark, But this guy, he's like a lifetime piece of shit. All of his friends, all of his ham radio friends, all of his white friends, they don't even fucking talk to him no more because they know what kind of asshole he is.
Well, to my knowledge, I understand there was a couple of arrests where him and CK are actually co-defendants. Is there any truth to this?
Well, I don't personally, I don't care about that shit. But
Is it in that file?
It's just that he's a complete fucking he's a complete snitch. He snitches both ways, two ways, back and forth. So he gets what he deserves. He gets his karma, and he gets what he deserves.
Well, when it comes to the word karma, I just think it's highly hilarious that he was talking about ripping down antennas, and less than 4 days later, his antenna got ripped down. I mean, if that's not a perfect, example of karma, what is?
You know what's funny about it? And he says that people are cop callers. And what did he do? That's the first thing he did. Is he ran to the knife precinct over here, right up the block. He ran right to the knife precinct. Oh, somebody stole my antenna, these motherfuckers! They stole my antenna. I'm a fucking C-Beer. C-Beer, go home, C-Beer. Fucking Chris Gassard. Oh my God, this guy's a fucking clown. He is a clown, absolute fucking clown.
Well, he actually did say that he has the proper authorities looking into it. I can only assume here that his strong arm of the law, that he would like to try to convince everybody he is just another figment of his imagination. And like I stated in the NYC Radio Wars #1 video, when he says, you didn't punk nobody, I say, okay, well, what do you call it when you got a guy that sits behind his mic explicitly, tells the world what he's going to do to you when he gets you, went out and brought special equipment to do so, and then in the end, he winds up copping a plea and trying to represent himself as being something I am, and he is not, to sound like the victim here. I call that me punking you.
Listen, this guy is fucking, he's going to be 57 soon. He's fat, he's overweight. I mean, he's got health conditions. Who the fuck is this guy kidding? This guy is absolutely a fucking joke.
Well, I really, really hope he keeps himself in good shape because to my knowledge and my understanding, I am very well aware that he likes to boast a 21-0 record, and I told him it will remain that till he goes up against me. And, well, it's my understanding that at a later date, there is going to be a legal ring where these guys who have these beefs on this radio are going to be able to sign a couple of papers and go into that ring and not have to worry about prosecution. So let's see what he's up to. I hope he keeps himself in really, really good shape because, this is going to be one of the things that's going to make the establishment called breaks and bouts famous.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, this guy, I would take it as a complete joke. You know what I mean? He's nothing. He's an absolute nothing. He is absolutely nothing. The only thing that he knows how to do is snitch.
Wait.
Oh yeah, it's that guy down the block for me. Oh yeah. Here's his name, here's his address, here's all his information, saying that shit to me.
To be honest with you, sir, the only thing I find him actually being good at is making up lies and telling stories. I have not seen any quality in him other than that. So.
You know what I've noticed about him is I think he has a psychological problem because anybody that's into the radio as much as he's into has a psychological problem. He's got no wife, he's got no kids, he doesn't want to marry. It's like he's a big time loser.
Well, see, again, I have to disagree with you there because I am into this radio crazily, and at the moment I'm not married, but I plan to be real soon. And kids, yes, I have 3 of them. As a matter of fact, my first one grew up half her life and didn't even know her daddy was a cop or know that I was her father because, I had to protect the baby. So, it sort of comes to a blow when the smoke all clears. All right, listen, I'm going to end this phone call now, and I appreciate your input. You're welcome to email me all those files, those names, addresses, phone numbers, driver's license numbers, social security numbers, all that other good stuff, because to be honest with you, that's how they get off. They feel that if they can have this is like their big win, it's the greatest thing in the world, and now we should be afraid, or we should kiss booty, or we should suck up to them, or we should just take all our shit down, or we should just bow. So,
That's funny.
I find...
That's funny.
Well, listen. You have to look at my position here. Okay, they brought this thing to me. I told them exactly what was going to happen and how it was going to end. And I think most of the things that I said on videotape 4 years ago, when I looked at today, they're like, holy shit. So, I'm just doing me.
Yeah, this I wouldn't even worry about him as far as being a threat. He's going to be roly-poly walking on crutches soon, so
Well,
forget about it.
The only thing I hope for him is that, one, he wakes up and realizes he's still half a man. Two, maybe he can bring his Kevlar and his tap on the shoulder and he can gain some credibility out here and have something behind him to substantiate rather than trying to conjecturate other people's encounters or, what it is that, we might do, in a dwelling. I mean, he talks like a homo that has lived with people that do these things. And the way he explains them to you, it's like he wants you to perceive, to believe that he is actually eyewitness in this, and you cannot question him on it. So,
he might actually be gay. He might actually be gay because he doesn't. He doesn't pursue any kind of marriage, any kind of lasting relationship. So I think he might be gay.
All right. Well,
he
listen.
Might actually be gay.
All right. Listen. Now, this part I could substantiate and guarantee. I could guarantee you 1,001% that man is definitely a homosexual. And when I got on Videogate, the way I worked him psychologically, how he explains things, the way certain words, when he's expressing his mind, his lips do more exposing of him than his brain. His brain is not smart enough to understand what it is his lips are actually conveying. But, if you put aside of the actual things that I have on Videogate that could corroborate, back this up, and prove this beyond a reasonable doubt, you really have to take into consideration when he's trying to battle and when he tries to say certain words. When he pronounces certain syllables. See, my daddy taught me, man, these kind of people cannot hide. Okay?
You know what's funny about that is that's how I found you. I found you through your videos and him talking all this shit on the fucking radio. I was like, what? This motherfucker is talking shit? Oh yeah, motherfucker.
Well, if that is the case, to be honest with you, if this is the case, then I really suggest you check out the Big Money Here playlist. So when you can type those 3 words into YouTube, Big Money Here, when you type that, type period and then the word playlist, the top thing that's going to come up on you, man, I mean, if you really want some justified truth or to understand.
I already saw most of that playlist. I already saw most of that playlist, but what I'm really interested in is how these stupid fools are actually his so-called friends when he goes ratting them out to other people. How are you gonna be friends with somebody that you ratted out? You know what I mean?
Well,
like Orlando Velasquez and this other guy. This guy he's got some serious mental issues,
Well, yeah, he's got, yes, a couple of mental issues. I'm gonna have to agree with you there. Psychosis is definitely one of them. ADD is definitely something listen, I don't know if it's ADD or Parkinson's, but he exhibits those two better than anybody I've seen, and doesn't even realize it.
You know what it is? He loves his radios like a bitch. You see, he loves his radios like a bitch. I think that he goes to sleep with his radios at night and he fucks them. That's how much he loves his fucking radios.
Well, listen.
Like a sick fuck.
Listen, listen.
Fuck. Chris Gassert, the sick fuck.
Hold on. I have to add to some of this insane madness. I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I love my radio better than I love some of my bitches. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't believe me, ask them what happened when they tried to turn it off. Listen. My love for radio is second to quite a few things. But for me, it's the love of the hobby. For me, it's the love of being able to have that power to say, you know what? I could circulate myself without even having to circulate myself. Now, how you circulate yourself, that is on you. If you make a bed, you have to lay in it. You understand? What makes it so easy for me out here to achieve the persona and the view from the people out here listening is that I'm real. Everything I said I am, I am.
You see what made his bed, what makes his bed is being a snitch. That's what's the funniest thing about it, is what makes his bed is being a snitch. So now he has to lay in his snitch bed with all of his fucking information being published, all of Orlando Velasquez's information being published, the other guy in 189 Avenue D, all of it.
Well, to be honest with you, to hear his rendition of a snitch and what the cartel's member do when they get a snitch, and hearing his rendition of it, I guess his psychosis was he perceives himself to be a person like that, and that is what he would like to do to the man he feels is a snitch. But I guess he just doesn't fail to realize what actually started this whole thing. What actually brought this about, man? I mean,
you know what? He actually lost many friends because of being a snitch. Because they found out and they stopped talking to him. They stopped talking to him because they found out that he snitched them out. Like I actually know a few people personally. I know a few people personally from the area that stopped talking to him because one way or another he snitched them out.
Well,
they didn't like that shit, so they stopped talking to him.
Well, I'm not going to lie.
This went on many years ago. Many years ago.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you, but I have to agree with you there, and I can understand what you're saying here because I'm a police officer, and I do know and have knowledge on some CI dealings and how they're utilized. And the sad thing is that all his information on CI knowledge, including with all the updated procedure stuff that I'm not aware of, enables me to believe that, he has dealt and has been on paper as a CI.
Yeah, he's been snitching out to the FCC. He's been snitching out to the FBI. He's a known FBI secret informant. He is an FBI secret informant. That's no fucking joke. No joke. He has informed the FBI in the past of certain fucking actions. He has informed the FCC, the FBI, even the police department. So this guy, he's if there's one thing that I would advise you to be on the lookout for is instead of looking out for his ass, look out for him fucking snitching you out to one agency or another. Because that's what he does. He's been doing this shit for so many years.
I am not gonna. Sure, listen.
And I'm talking about all the way back to 1992. All the way back to 1992. I remember when this guy used to talk on the CB, and he used to snitch out all the cab drivers. You remember those cab drivers? They used to use the CB. He used to snitch them out to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI.
Well,
this cocksucker used to snitch all of them out.
Sure, I'm not gonna lie to you. The last thing I'm worried about him ever doing is jamming me up with any agency, especially the FBI. The last thing I'm worried about, in other words, this might, I appreciate your concern. I know he probably does this with others, but the last thing that I'm ever worried about is something like that because of the credentials that I do possess, the presidential appointment I do possess, and I happen to know how really untouchable I am. I don't use this to my advantage. I don't wield it as a stick. I do not use it to throw my weight around or misuse my credentials. But the last thing I'm worried about is any of that because on U.S. land, I basically have more immunities and clearances than diplomats. So,
Yeah, but you know what? If his so-called friends on CB knew what kind of a snitch he was and how much shit that he snitched in the past and currently snitches, I bet you if they were of any sound mind, they would not be talking to this motherfucker cocksucker. They would not be talking to this guy.
Well, the way that I see the situation is that he bit off more than he could chew when he decided to tell the world he has a videotape of me doing something. So, right then and there, look.
You know what? This Christopher Gasser, he's got a couple of fucking screws loose. That's the thing. He's got a couple of screws loose, and he's not sound in his mind. He definitely has a couple of screws loose.
Well, maybe if he gets the courage or the manhood up to bring his Kevlar in his tap, maybe I could tighten him up for him a little,
I wouldn't even worry about the loser. I would not even worry about the fucking loser,
All right, listen, sir, I appreciate your call. Like I said, I'm glad I don't know your name, so I'll just call you Mr. Unknown because that's how your number comes up. With that,
he knows my name. He knows who the fuck I am.
Well,
he knows who the fuck I am because he snitched me out so many fucking times. He knows exactly who I am.
Sir, please listen to me. All the viewers out here already know that those 4 or 5 scumbags know who you are. But the beauty of it is that I don't and we don't. They have already made that assessment listening to the airwave and listening to the video gates. So it is a blessing. It is like, hey, some things are just meant to be, right?
Yeah, he knows who I am. I'm not hiding at all. I'm putting this out as information that's freely available, and that's what he gets for for being a lifetime snitch. He gets his fucking karma.
All right, well, karma, you have a good night, and I'm out of here. I gotta go, baby. Peace. Thank you.
All right.
The king of New York City. That's right.